1000 kilometers for 120 euros. Can it do it? Hey everyone, and welcome back on the channel. My name is Alex, and in today's video a very, let's say, low-key review because I don't have many fancy b-roll shots to show you, but I want to discuss this shoe very quickly. The KIPRUN KS900, the premium daily trainer, high cushion daily trainer by DECATHLON. KIPRUN, by the way, many of you asked in the preview of the KIPRUN KD900X, the first carbon plated shoe by DECATHLON, what KIPRUN stands for. And basically it is keep on running, KIPRUN, nothing to do with Eliud Kipchoge, so at least now, you know, no confusion possible, you know the answer for that. What do you think of this shoe when you see it? Let me know which other model in some other brands does it make you think of. I had in mind directly Invincible or New Balance More V3 because of those sort of, I don't know how to call them, but that wave pattern on the midsole. It reminded me of those two shoes, the More V3 by New Balance and the Nike Invincible. And fun fact, the team at DECATHLON was inspired to design this shoe, not only in terms of exterior design, but also the sensations that they wanted to convey to the runners. They were inspired by mattresses, a mattress, so they really wanted to have that very pleasant cushion, very, you know, very cushion ride, and just like a mattress, something also quite bulky. I'm not sure this is what they wanted to get to, but this shoe has a bit of it. Let's come back to that. First of all, quickly the specs. And if you want to see all the stats written, go on the website metaendurance.com. The link is in the description. Go use the shoe super tool. You can check all the metrics for this shoe and compare them against other shoes. But first of all, weight 287 grams in my size US 11. This is a standard weight for daily trainers, so nothing to write home about here. Width of the platform, and as you may see here, it's a very wide platform. The second widest I've ever measured, just between the More V3 and the Invincible. So, you know, here we have some correlations. It's definitely super wide. You get some nice inherent stability coming from that. So good job here, KIPRUN. It, you know, in all transparency, it also feels a bit like a boat because you really have a lot of surface on which you are stepping. So it's good, but it has some drawbacks, and you don't feel super nimble, super agile because of that width. Durometer score, the M-foam cushion midsole EVA based comes at 38 on the durometer scale. Again, if you want to see the very specific, very precise numbers and compare them, go use the shoe super tool online. 38 on the durometer scale, it's quite high, and the ride correlates quite well with that number. Outsole around 62. As you can see here, the outsole is very thick. I would say probably 4 to 5 millimeters of rubber outsole, and we'll come back to that, but that will help with the durability. Stack height, 29 millimeters in the heel, 21 in the forefoot, 8 millimeters drop. Spot on for me for a daily trainer like this. Good job. It's not a max stack height with that 29 in the heel, 21 in the forefoot. It has some cushion, it has some stack height, but definitely not a max stack height type of shoe, especially nowadays compared with some other brands, other models. The upper, I struggled a bit, to be very honest with you. I struggled a bit, especially with the lacing. The laces are quite thin, and they very quickly become annoying at the top of your feet, because of too much pressure coming from them once you lace them up, and I didn't really manage to find the right solution here. The tongue is padded at the top, maybe a bit too much padded at the top and not enough here in the midfoot and at the beginning of the tongue. It also has that very weird, you know, factory type of little tags here, and I will cut them, but why put them here? I don't know, but funny fact, I know that my shoe was produced on March 16, or at least stamped on March 16, so that's the little fun thing. The toe bumper is okay, but I'm not sure why you need it here, except maybe to get a bit more volume and less collapsing from the upper on your toes. But why not? The rest is, I would say, okay, but really nothing to write home about. I would swap the laces for something a bit more thick in terms of laces, and that maybe will reduce the lacing pressure on the top of my feet. Very important, the heel has a very low profile, and so you don't get much heel wrapping. The collar here, the counter is very stout, very rigid, and I know for some people this may be an issue, so take this into account. And again, it doesn't go very high. No issues with the lockdown, but I think for heels that are a bit more narrow, this may be an issue. Again, it depends on your preferences. I don't mind those low profiles heel counters, but at least you know that it's one of these. Midsole and ride, this is very interesting. So a few remarks here. First of all, the 29 millimeters drop in the heel, 21 in the forefoot. It feels like it, and therefore with the 21 in the forefoot, you really have some ground contact. If you like it, go for it. Some people are not looking for ground contact on easy days, on endurance days. They prefer to have a bit more cushion to save the legs. Here you definitely have some ground contact in the forefoot. Note how the shoe is flexible. This really plays also a role in the ride, and you have a nice transition from heel to toe. I think the flex helps also with that, but because of that flex, you need to have a strong push-off phase in your gait cycle. I do have one, and this shoe works for me quite nicely, but I don't think that it will be the case for all runners. And the cushion, it's cushioned, but it's on the firm side of cushion, if you will. It's very interesting how the heel feels super bulky, super large, super stable also, which is a good thing, compared to the forefoot, which is a bit more flimsy, thin, and you have less density below your foot in the forefoot. I would have liked to have maybe a couple extra millimeters of stack height, at least in the forefoot, maybe even both in the heel and the forefoot, and maybe a couple less points on the geometer scale, ranging around 34 to 35, like some other foams, maybe Hyperburst from Skechers is around that 35. Even Pro-Fly from Hoka is a bit lower and feels a bit softer. This felt a little firm, especially in the forefoot, but that's also because of the ground contact. Even in the heel, it isn't super soft. Again, I do not really mind firmer rides. I actually quite like them, and I like ground contact here in the forefoot. But just so you know, it's not a super soft max stack height daily trainer, and that's how it rides. The good thing though is that M foam cushion midsole compound has quite some energy return to it, which is not always the case for EVA foams, and therefore you can really take this shoe from anything recovery paces up to, I would say, tempo paces, which I did yesterday, and it worked quite well, around 4 minutes per kilometer, 350 minutes per kilometer, quite nice, and the shoe responded well. So this is a good point, and we'll come back to the value for money, but it adds to that good value for money. Outsole, there isn't much to say here. This will be the workhorse that cannot get beat up. Really a lot of outsole, maybe even too much thickness for that rubber outsole, 4 to 5 millimeters. It's really huge. I couldn't really test the grip, but it definitely grips well on dry surfaces. Let's see if it rains here a bit or on some packed trails how it goes. But I don't see it being an issue. Durability will be super good. And here is the main thing with this shoe, the claim by Decathlon: 1,000 kilometers for 120 euros. Can it do it? I would say yes, and that brings fantastic value for money on the table in that daily trainer category. I haven't tried the Reebok Floatride Energy 4.0. I know it's $100 and even less if you find a nice discount code on Reebok.com. But I don't know if the Reebok can do 1,000 kilometers. I think this shoe can. That's also because of the less cushioned, less compressible midsole, which of course will have a longer lifespan. So it's a trade-off. And I think for this price point and 1000 kilometers, it's a good trade-off. So if you like that type of ride, if you want something that is versatile, and if you want a killer in terms of value for money, go for it. I think Decathlon did a good job. I'm looking forward to trying the carbon-plated shoe by Decathlon, the KD900X. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see that review. Thanks a lot for watching this one today, for tuning in. Enjoy your run today, enjoy your ride, and go beyond your limits. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.